knollwoodcommunity.org, and under the events tab, you can find previously recorded webinars. Specifically, if you're looking to get to know some more residents, all of our past Meet the Residents can be found under there. So, yeah.
And we also have some informational webinars. Today, you're not really going to learn about the ins and outs of residency at Knollwood, but today you're going to learn about being a resident here.
Yeah.
So we're going to introduce you to some of our favorite people.
Yeah.
In the green jackets is Marie Hilliard.
Hello, I'm hoping to have you as new neighbors someday.
That would be really nice. And in the charcoal jacket is Katie Young.
Hello, I am pleased to meet you.
And you have a handsome man with you today.
And with me is my husband, Clifford Young, Lieutenant Colonel Clifford Young, retired.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So what we kind of like to start out is we're just going to have Marie as well as Katie and Clifford just tell you a little bit maybe about themselves, how long you've been at Norwood, and maybe where you lived most prior to living at Norwood.
Well, it's coming upon 3 years that I've been here, 3 wonderful years. I came in August of 2018, and I lived before that in Philadelphia, where I'm still working part-time from where I'm working part-time remotely. And very, very happy to be here. I researched it in great depth before I decided to come here, and actually registered or put my deposit down years ago because I knew this is where I wanted to be. So I've been here 3 years, but I've known of Knollwood now about 8 years, and it's fulfilled my hopes in terms of where I wanted to retire.
Now, how about Katie and Cliff?
Okay, Clifford and I lived 1 block north of here, and we passed here daily and always said, well, what did they do up on the hill? I was the one who said it. He didn't pay any attention to what was on the hill. And he said, one day he said, well, let's go up there and see. So we came up on the hill, came inside, introduced ourselves, and reservation was made for us to come go on a tour and all. And we did that and we loved it. It was so different than living in a house. I had always lived in a house before, never lived in an apartment. But since being here at Norwood, I love that I don't have to be responsible for all the things that go wrong in a house. And I love it. I'm glad that we came up on the hill to see what was going on.
I understand you had a very large house too.
13 rooms, which is so different from this apartment, but I have adjusted and I'm okay with that.
Okay. How long did your adjustment take?
I'm still adjusting. I'm still adjusting, but 75, 80% I'm there.
Okay. Now, one thing that we forgot to ask the viewers, but for those watching, if you might have a question you'd like to ask of Clifford or Katie or Marie or all three, if you take your mouse and the viewers hover it at the bottom of your screen, you'll see what looks like a Q&A or a hand raise. And in those areas, you can actually type in your questions. So you can type in questions at any time, and we're going to be happy to have your panel of 3 answer for you.
Okay. All right. So I would love to start with the questions. This is Helen here. What are your favorite things to do outside of Knollwood or within Knollwood too? We can talk about a little bit of both.
I have so much family. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No, that's all right.
I have a lot of family in the area, which is why I chose this area to retire. And so, especially now that we're all, for the most part, immunized, 98% of the residents here are immunized and 92% of the staff, it's safer for me to visit with family. And actually, it's reciprocal. I like visiting family, but they're coming in now and they're having meals here, and it's quite enjoyable. But the other thing that I enjoyed and hope to enjoy more because I am still working part-time are the trips. And the trips are becoming increasing now that we're immunized,
Mhm.
and things that are very cultural, like the Folger Museum just before it closed for renovation, very historic theater. I said museum. We have many museums, and because of where we are, they're free for the most part, not the Folger, but in any event, looking forward to more trips now that we're a little safer in terms of going out there.
How about Katie and Cliff?
Well, I like the activities that they have here, as well as I like the trips. I like going to the Kennedy Center because they have lots of music activities going on there, and I'm a music fan. I like jazz and blues and whatever. But I also like the museums. And there are a lot of other things other places that we go to visit from Norwood. For example, every summer, we go to a beach area for a week, and we enjoy that.
Yeah.
Last one was I think, Dover, in Delaware.
Oh, yeah, Delaware has beautiful beaches.
But
The
there's just-
restaurant trips are good too, aren't they? La Ferme and,
Oh, yeah, the lunch bunch, they call it.
yes, yeah.
They go for lunch once a month,
Mhm.
about once a month.
I think they're going today. I think today's one of the trips.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Okay.
nice.
Try like the third time this month.
There. Yes, right. Well, you know, because of COVID, we, yeah,
Yeah.
we were making up for lost time. I feel, because of COVID.
That's great to do.
Yeah.
But there's just a lot of things to do outside as well as inside.
What are some of your favorite things to do right here without leaving Knollwood?
Without leaving Norwood, well, I'm in charge of bingo,
You help
Yes.
people.
yes.
Mhm.
And we have a full group of people coming in for bingo. We used to give money for the winners, but now we give little bags of candy.
So you volunteer to do that.
I volunteered to do that, and I love it. It gives me something to do and something to see people happy about. Because there are times when one person will win more than one game, and that person is
We don't
really
like that.
good.
We don't like that.
But I like that. I really like my class called Brain class,
Oh, yes.
because it gives you a chance to really dig into the brain and watch how the brain manipulates you and how you're going to respond to what the brain is telling you according to what's before you.
Do you have a science background?
No, I don't have a science background. I have education and theater arts. So, no science.
And I know you were a teacher.
I was a teacher.
What did you teach?
I taught second grade,
Oh,
and I also
that's a
taught
nice grade.
kindergarten,
Oh.
and I loved teaching very much. I was also a car dealership owner, but I didn't like that as well as I did teaching.
I had to deal with those ugly adults, right? Instead of the cute little kids.
Yeah. See, adults don't listen, children do. That was, it was okay while I was there.
So you were kind of a front runner on women's lib as well as even
It's
being.
car business. I was the only, at the time when I was with General Motors, I was the first Black female, the only, and I used to say in the whole world.
Well, GM was huge.
Oh, yeah, it was huge. They had about 9 divisions at GM at that time, but they really cut down now. They don't have that many because Chrysler, Pontiac and Oldsmobile are no longer there.
Yeah.
And they're always cutting back. So
It's pretty amazing. So you're kind of, well,
now they have a black, not a black, but they have a female
oh, yes.
president at
The-
General Motors.
Yes. Yes.
Which is good.
You're a trailblazer then.
Yes. Yes, you are. That's
And
really
at my dealership, I was the first one to start hiring females salesmen.
Because that was a man's world.
It was a man's world. They didn't like it. They didn't like it.
Was it a dealership here in the DC area?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Capitol Heights, Maryland.
So you've been in this
Central
whole
Avenue.
region a long time.
Yes. Absolutely.
How about a little bit about what you have done in your life's work? Are you still working? but-
Yeah, I am a retired Army colonel and a registered nurse, but I also am a medical ethicist, and that's what I'm working in now in medical ethics, doing consulting and teaching also at the graduate level in medical ethics. And I'm a canon lawyer, which is a lawyer for the Catholic Church. And we're involved, remain involved in the work of consulting for Catholic hospitals in terms of medical ethics issues and so sort of interfaces with nursing and ethics and canon law. But in terms of the activities here, I think one of the things that I really enjoy is some of the things that are going on in the Anderson Lounge that
Oh,
yes. Like before the Oscars, we got to see a number of the movies that were nominated, which I think was
That's
Oh,
really, really, and
That's a
yeah.
lot of fun.
it really was. And there's, you talked about brain fit, but there's sit and fit and there's stand and fit. And if you're busy with work, as I am at times, I can see it in my apartment because
Oh, you can
we're
see.
wired,
Yeah.
the building is well wired, and so I can zoom, and if I'm doing something and want to do a little exercise but don't want to go downstairs.
So you can do it in person or via Zoom.
Yes, so,
That's one of
Yeah.
that's one of the benefits of COVID, I think, is that we've all become
yeah.
a little bit more flexible in how we do things.
right, exactly.
So different.
Right.
So different. I forgot to mention, we have the Norwood Singers.
That's right, you're in there.
Oh.
Yes.
Who
Oh, you just-
entertain once a year.
You just had a performance.
We did. We
You were
did.
dressed up. I saw the pictures.
You did.
Yeah.
And that's really nice. We like the Norwood Singers, and gives us a chance to entertain the residents. And
There's some good
Yes,
voices
like
in
it.
that group.
oh, yes,
There's some
absolutely.
really good voices and some good musicians too, because we have some.
Oh, really
some-
qualified musicians who had great careers.
Or
too.
are still in their careers.
Yes, that's true.
Yes,
That's
You,
true.
yes, that are still in their careers. Helen has questions from the audience.
I do. So one of the questions that has come in, they want to know how long you have lived here at Knollwood.
Okay, I've lived at Norwood for 5 years. We'll be in December,
Okay.
and love it. I wouldn't go back to a house. since I've been into the apartment. I like it.
What makes you not want to go back to the house?
Too much work.
I thought so, but I just wasn't sure.
Yeah. No.
For me, it's almost 3 years. And I agree, there's not much that, I was thinking about that in terms of writing checks or paying bills, that it's, things are taken care of here. I don't have maintenance costs or even things in terms of the television and telephone. There are extra things you can add on to program yourself for better or more a broader viewing, but it's simple. Life is simple.
It is.
Yeah,
Well, it probably enables you to continue working.
it's true. No, it's true. And I was already wired for work. I was doing much of my work remotely already, but that was facilitated here. I mean, I didn't have to worry about that in terms of having access. So, no, there's so many things here that transportation to
Yes.
when the Folgers, for example, picked up at the door here. I don't have to worry about parking where I'm going. The tickets are already purchased, and we always get good rates, don't you agree?
Oh, yes, we get good rates. We walk in, they take us directly to our seats. We don't have to worry about where the seats are and looking for them.
Yeah.
Everything is just so convenient.
You get to cut the line.
Well, actually, I think it's all pre-programmed, they
Yeah,
know where
it
we're
is.
going and.
Yeah.
That's
That's
so
really
nice.
Mhm.
Because you kind of have I don't know, it's almost like a cruise director.
You know, one of my nephews says, Aunt Marie, this is like a cruise. You know, my refrigerator is a schedule for the month, actually. And even they were here shortly after Mother's Day. And the schedule's up. And now that we're opening up more and more, and even during COVID, wouldn't you agree, Katie and Clifford, they did as much as they could
Oh, yeah,
to keep us active.
they did. Oh,
Yes.
just almost every day, they were giving us something extra to do.
Yeah.
And it kept your brain busy, but they did a terrific job. I am so proud of them. Really proud. of
They
them.
kept us
The
safe.
staff, really good.
They even grocery shop for us. They
That's
did,
true. I remember
right.
in the
They
beginning,
did grocery
yeah.
shop for us,
Yeah.
so.
They did the
Right.
grocery shop. Anything that we wanted, they provided.
Including wine. Do you remember that? We got a
The
notice
wine.
saying they would pick up wine for us. Yeah.
Deliver your meals if you wanted that.
Now, during COVID, did you also learn how to order groceries online, things like that?
I had already done that, so that
Okay.
was what I had done. but-
No, I didn't do that. I was lucky enough to have a daughter who always called, what do you want? I'm writing your list out. I'm bringing you stuff. So I didn't have to do that.
I had never done any online groceries before COVID, but then I mean,
Yeah,
I've
I-
ordered other things online, but I thought, might as well do the groceries too.
Yeah. Yeah. She loves ordering online.
Now-
She still does.
Do you cook?
I cook most of the time.
Less and less. I thought so at first. I look in my kitchen now with all the utensils and why did I bring them? But less and less for me.
I cook because I like cooking. I always like cooking. And I like having what I want to have. So it works out fine for me. Occasionally, I get food from me downstairs.
But the options are very good. I mean, there's a lot of variety for people who are vegetarian or gluten intolerant, and I'm not. I can eat anything. But, and now that, well, even, do you remember last summer when we really couldn't eat together because of COVID, but we could eat outside. So I know I'm having dinner twice this week at the veranda,
Oh,
and
really?
yeah, and it's just lovely, which is for our viewers, a veranda. There's a beautiful old estate which was originally on this property. It's a mansion, if you will, smaller than a mansion, but maybe not even as big as your 13-room house. I don't know. But there's a beautiful veranda and it overlooks Rock Creek Park and beautiful. I'm having jumbo shrimp. I know that.
Oh, wow.
So
Yeah, that's good.
I'm cooking less and less.
Do we have other viewer questions?
We do have some questions. So these two kind of go hand in hand. Did you seek the opinion of family and friends before you decided on Knollwood? And really, what made you make that ultimate
I'm
decision?
dying to see.
You're
I'm dying to see.
Yeah,
this.
go ahead and start.
My family, I retired here. Again, I'm semi-retired because I have so much family here, but no, that wasn't through their recommendation. Being in Army, I knew places like this existed. And although our admission, we welcome people who are not in the military, but I knew that places like this existed. So I started researching because I wanted to retire in this area. And I looked at a number of places in the area. And then I looked online to see, I used to work for a state health department and I was a regulator. And I looked to see what the federal government had to say about us. And we're a 5-star, and that's really important because, and this is the nurse in me who was a regulator of healthcare. People sometimes look at some of the things that are more obvious, the beautiful setting we have here, when you come to the dining room and see it is fine dining. But we also have to look at the healthcare here. And that's what I researched before I even saw it. I went online, I read what the Centers for Medicaid and Medicare Services had to say about us. And then I came and I interviewed everyone and I asked questions. I actually went I talked to the director of nursing, the healthcare administrator here, who's a licensed nursing home administrator. And actually, this was not going to be my first choice in terms of what I originally had anticipated. And I was very impressed. So it wasn't my family, even though they live in the area. My family was the reason I came to this area, but I looked at where I was going to spend the rest of my days. And perhaps what's most important, the last few years of my life where I might need a higher level of care, which is right here. A lot of retirement communities don't have it on site. It's right in the same building, even assisted living. So, and I looked at how they were rated and talked to people about the ratings. And so that's how I made my decision.
I made my decision by looking up on the hill. I did not look at any other facilities because once we came here and I saw what they had to offer, Clifford and I talked about it. I said, you know, once we leave the house and go someplace else, that's going to be it. We're not going to make another move. So after making that decision to come here, I thought, okay, this is it. And it is. I plan to go no place else.
We only came from a block away, so
Just
you
a
didn't
block
have to-
away.
All you
Yeah.
had to do is change your address.
But my children, when I told them, I have two children, a girl and a boy. And we brought them over to look at it. They liked it. They liked it for all the amenities that are given here. And I thought, well, this is it. But the problem was getting rid of all of the stuff in those 13 rooms and just having a little 2-bedroom here. I thought, it took 2 years before the house sold, mainly because it took a long time for me to get rid of things.
So did you
Moving back.
move before you listed your house?
Yes.
Oh,
Mhm.
that was probably smart.
I moved before
That's
listing the house because it was too much in there to list
Yeah.
at the time.
Yeah.
So you know,
They use-
I need to get things straightened out, cleaned out and all of
Yeah.
that.
The realtors probably loved you because you were getting rid, lightening the load of the house when they showed it.
Yeah. If I had to do it again, I would not show it empty.
Mm.
Do not show the house empty
Yes.
because when you show it empty, you're gonna see all the little things that need to be done, all the little painting and all that. Painting have to paint throughout the house if it is empty, but if it is not empty, then you don't have to do that because all of these little intricacies are not noticeable. For example, a chair or a table leg that sinks into the carpet makes an indentation. It is not going anyplace
Yeah.
when that object is moved. It is not going anyplace. It's going to be there. You can't get it out. So therefore, you have to decide, am I going to put carpet here? Or should I remove the carpet and have the floor? So there's a lot involved to think about when you're moving.
For me, I had already downsized because I had a condominium in Connecticut. When I moved for work to Philadelphia, I rented. So, and I didn't have a 13-room house. But it was a little, I sold my condo in one day, but it was furnished.
Oh,
In
okay,
Connecticut,
right? Yeah.
And then moved to Philly and was there for 12 years. But in any event, I had already downsized, so it was a little bit easier for me to. But there's so many different sizes of apartments here too. There's
Yeah.
a lot of flexibility in terms of what your needs are and what you want to do in terms of your lifestyle.
It's true. We probably have at least 40 different sizes, and
Yeah.
within the sizes, there are variations.
That's right. Every apartment seems to be a little bit different.
Yeah, and you could go anywhere from under 1,000 square feet to 2,500 square feet.
Yeah.
Which isn't as big as a 13-room house. though.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So I know that Katie let us know she's in a 2-bedroom. What about you, Marie?
I'm in a 1-bedroom and I don't know the square footage of it, but as some of us know here, I had wanted a apartment with a den and it wasn't available, but the option for me was to move into what I have and then move later, which is always an option. And then I had decided that I'd already arranged things, and if I have a good closet space, and I have good closet space, a good big walk-in closet, that it's just me. I don't need, am I going to walk to another room to say hello to myself in the next room? So I thought, well, I don't need to move. And so I have a 1-bedroom and 1.5 baths. So I wanted a bathroom for guests, for my family to visit. And I can understand you probably have 2 full
Full
baths,
baths,
yeah.
yes.
And in any event, it's adequate for me. It's adequate.
That's great.
And plenty of closet space.
Yeah.
So we've already kind of touched on some of the topics, aspects that are most important to you about your life in Knollwood. Is there anything you want to add? Like for Marie, you really wanted to feel good about the potential healthcare you may receive in the future. But
And even now, the
yeah,
access to care, even now. We were talking before we went live about dermatology, came right to my apartment this week. And I'm trying to hide some of the marks of the dermatology. It came, but was able to zap me right in my apartment, which I thought was just great. And I know that people avail themselves of the podiatrist who comes right to the apartment, and people really are very much in favor of him. I haven't had him. I said if he would paint my toenails, maybe, because we love pedicures, and having that in your apartment was great. But the psychosocial support, especially during COVID, and we talked about this earlier, there is telemedicine, which many of us use anyway because of COVID now, but in terms of psychosocial, that's been made available to residents. And even on site, they have kind of a area where perhaps people don't even know that's why you're going to that area, because some people are sensitive about wanting that private. And I chair the Health Services Committee, which is the committee of our resident association, and healthcare management is on that committee, which is the great involvement of residents with management in terms of healthcare. So I know of some of these things and how management has made every effort to meet our needs. And I think in a way that has helped people endure this for everyone, no matter where you live, not just here. This has been hard. And certainly we know we're a vulnerable population for COVID because of our
Very much
age
so.
and other infirmities that people may have. But so yes, that's what I looked at before I made a decision. Those were the things were important to me, And if I can just add one other thing, if people find that a faith perspective is important to them, especially in terms of what we've just faced, there are opportunities here on a regular basis for religious services that I know in other places aren't available. So, and people avail themselves of that here. It's a real benefit that it's respected by management if we choose to engage in religious services as support. And there are a lot of things that are led by residents. There are things here during the week that are faith-based, led by residents. So, and a lot of opportunity for volunteers. I serve in 3 different capacities. And today I'm hosting my floor happy hour right after this. So
That's the psychosocial aspect
yes,
too.
that's right. It's very important. Spiritual.
It's a lot of that, right?
It can be.
Yeah.
Can be. Good sharing goes on there. Really good sharing. So.
Looks like we have another viewer question. What is that one, Helen?
what kind of backgrounds do people have that live here? Because there's a whole variety of people who live here. So maybe we can talk about you all and maybe some of your good friends and the different kinds of people who are around.
Well, two of us are military here,
Mhm.
but it's much broader than that. And it was actually started, as we know, for the wives.
Yeah, maybe I think
Yeah, right.
was the starter of this.
And I know you shared a lot about your background, Katie, but maybe what are some of your close friends here at Knollwood? What have they done in their careers or?
Really interesting people. One, in terms of government agencies, a lot of former government employees are here. But last night I met someone who's involved in Rock Creek Park and the whole, we're not taking down the trees, we're actually trying to preserve and conserve what's going on there. And she's been key to that. She's a new resident here.
She also founded Dumbarton Oaks.
I did not know that.
Co-founded
Yeah, I've just been
the gardens
prompted that
there.
she's founded Dunbarton Oaks. I did not know that. And actually, I did Google her after I met her last night, and she's quite impressive in terms of her background. We have people who have worked in military for sure, but as not as military, but worked for the government, people in government agencies. And I say, you can't tell me what you've done before, can you? Because some of the work that they've done to keep us safe. And then there are others who, I myself, 20 years in the Army Reserve, and ran nursing schools for the military, and was a brigade executive officer of a brigade that was responsible for training all medical personnel in the Northeast United States. But we're many different career paths. You'll see chaplains here. You'll see people who actually have, one of the people who works here actually, who was a cook, and it led to, in the military, it led to him working here. So it's a lot of diversity.
I know there's a journalist that lives here and teachers, actually John Higgins. He still works in
Yeah,
journalism.
yeah, exactly. There is, he was a reporter, a journalist, and he actually now serves on our local area community for the DC has area representatives in different areas of the District of Columbia, and it's an advisory council, and it's called the Neighborhood Advisory Council. And he was elected actually to represent us there, and he was a journalist, and so he has a background. He knows how to ask the right questions, I can tell you that.
So how about from each of you, what do you like most about Knollwood?
I like Norwood because it goes from A to Z. And you don't have to go outside to do anything if you don't want to. You get sick, there's something here that can take care of that, or someone here who can take care of that. Food, you know, anything you want seems to be here.
And for me, it's the camaraderie that I know that, for example, if I just am feeling a little lonely, I can just go downstairs and get a cup of coffee and sit and talk to someone. And there's, as you have pointed out, Katie, all the activities, but there are times where I don't even need the activity. I'll just go down, and sometimes I will have cooked in my apartment. I thought, I want to go see somebody. So after I eat, I go down. Can I join your table for a cup of coffee? It's the camaraderie. I think that was probably the big reason that I chose to come to a retirement community. I lived in a very lovely apartment in Philadelphia, but you don't know your neighbors in that kind of living. Here, we're family. We're family.
We've got lots of neighbors here.
Yes.
Lots of neighbors.
Was it challenging moving from out of one state to another for you?
Not for me. I think because I had lived in a number of places. I lived in Boston when I went to school there. I lived here when I went to school here also. And I lived in, as we say, Connecticut was where I hailed from, but I moved to Philly. So no, I don't think, and I had so much family here. I didn't have family in Philly when I moved there, but I have family here. But coming into this environment, I remember the day I moved in, people just sought me out. They sought me out. It wasn't as if I just went into my apartment. People sought me out. And so the transition wasn't difficult at all. I don't know for you, but people friendly.
They're very friendly. Didn't have problems making friends because they're just there, and you do what you do when you make a friend. And there are several teachers here,
Mhm.
and we had something in common. So that was really nice because you can do a lot of camaraderie.
Mhm.
I'm the only elementary school teacher that I've met here. The others are on other levels, principal. There's just a lot that goes on, and you can become a part of it if you choose to.
What would you want the viewers to know before they move to Knollwood?
Don't wait. That's what I keep saying to people. Don't wait. It's important to get yourself settled early, I think, in a retirement community, because if you wait too long, I think the adjustment might be harder. And from what we can see here, people stay healthy and longer. People are living in these independent apartments that are going to turn 100 next year, of whom I'm speaking, who very independent, been here for a number of years. And so my message to people is don't wait, because what happens is a catastrophe happens and somebody falls or somebody gets sick. And now you get to have more of a decision in terms of which apartment you want. And, so in any event, that's my advice. Don't wait.
Yeah, don't wait, plan,
Yeah.
plan, so that when you decide you're ready to make that move, you know the steps that you're going to use to get to where you're going.
Yeah.
We didn't do a lot of planning because we wanted to go up on the hill. Once I saw it, I thought, oh, wow, I don't have to do all of this house stuff. And I was really impressed with it. So therefore, I didn't look anyplace else.
Well, I think what you said is true, because 7 years ago, now almost 8, that I decided to come here, I didn't see my apartment till the day I moved in. I just knew this is where I was going to go. I saw pictures, I saw FaceTime of it. And I knew, but I had planned ahead. I had planned back when I made the decision to come here. So
you were definitely ahead of the curve, FaceTiming to see the apartment several years ago, where now it's a little bit more ordinary because of COVID.
Yeah.
What would you, let's say if you could change one thing about your life tomorrow, what would it be?
About life?
About your life
Your life.
tomorrow, what would you change if you could change one thing?
Oh, I wouldn't change anything about my life today. You talk about tomorrow.
Tomorrow, Wednesday.
Today, I wouldn't change anything today or tomorrow, because I like the way my life is going now. There's nothing that I want to do that I can't do, or any place that I want to go that I can't go, because I've traveled all over, and I'm satisfied, with doing the more simple things of life.
Yeah. And for me, I do enjoy working, but as I've said to a number of you, it's getting in the way of me enjoying all the good stuff that goes on here. It's interfering with, and especially now that more and more is being added, which always was before COVID, but because of safety, we couldn't participate together in so many things, trips, etc. But that's the one thing I say, work is getting in the way of this cruise, that cruise environment. So, but I'm one of these people that I still I still think I want to continue working for a little bit longer.
Well, if the viewers have any more questions, if you want to key them in now.
We're
But,
coming up about 40 minutes in, so.
Okay, so we have time for a couple more questions if there
Yeah.
are any.
Mhm.
And do you have a question there still?
I do. So I know Marie touched a little bit about, the healthcare here, but do you all feel like there's access to quality healthcare here in the district?
I do. I haven't had a problem with healthcare. There is plenty of healthcare.
Absolutely, and we're in a metropolitan area with medical centers. We have Johns Hopkins is very present here in terms of two of the facilities here. We've got Georgetown for people who use the VA system. We have a big VA hospital right adjacent to Washington Hospital Center. I use Walter Reed, he's retired Army, and very pleased with that. I call it the President's Hospital. I go to the President's Hospital. So we live in a metropolitan area, and we have a bus to Walter Reed, but also to the facilities that are under one of the facilities under Johns Hopkins, which is nearby, and people had been using that who didn't have military retirement, and that's where the bus will also take you. So we have great metropolitan services here in terms of healthcare, and then we have access to it. So yes.
Good. Anything else coming up, Elise?
What are the availability of opportunities for physical engagement, exercise engagement here
Oh my
in
gosh.
the community?
Talk about the exercise stuff we've got going on here.
Well, they have, and actually it is a workout. I was a runner until recently. Something happened in terms to me physically, so I haven't, but I ran for 30 years. And so in any event, so I've started now the sit and fit and the stand and fit. And I can also do that in my apartment through Zoom, but it was like, oh, really is a workout. Really is a workout. And Zumba, and the pool has just opened up too. The pool has been not because of Knollwood's restrictions, but because of the District of Columbia restrictions during COVID. But they have exercise as well as lanes, and they schedule those separately so that people trying to do lanes aren't bumping into people who are doing exercising. And I'm not one of what I tend to do is kind of try to walk, but
That's true, Rock Creek Park or even on our property, if you
I-
just like to walk.
right. And actually I have timed in the hallways here, and it's all air conditioned or temperature controlled. So I know how many miles I have to go within the facility, but we have Rock Creek Park right here. And, but there's nothing like swimming for some folks here. And that's been really popular now that it opened up again.
I know DC itself is big. There's a lot of places to bicycle to.
In fact, one of our residents has a bike, and I know historically, up till a few months ago, I'd see him, I'd look out the window and he'd be going to Rock Creek Park, and he's not a youngster either. He's
Yeah.
riding in the area, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think, any last ones there, Elise?
No.
Okay, I think we might have answered everyone's questions then.
I just want to add about physical therapy here.
Oh, sure.
That is, I haven't had to use it, but repeatedly, and I don't know if you hear the same thing, Katie and Clifford, but I hear how good it is. And people, actually, some people even come into the independent side because they were originally sent from a hospital to the assisted living or rehab side, and looked around and thought, this is where I want to retire. So, but the physical therapy here, and it's one-stop shopping. My neighbor who's just gotten out of the hospital, and we all chipped in to do something. I watered plants, someone took care of the mail, that's what we do for each other. And the physical therapy, she went right from the hospital with major surgery, major back surgery. And physical therapy is right here. So you don't have to go somewhere, and it's good physical therapy. People-
Very good,
Yes.
very good. Clifford has used the physical
Okay,
therapy here.
Okay.
And
Has
it's very
he-
good, very timely, you know, and they're very concerned about, is this enough? Do you need more?
Clifford, did you use inpatient rehab or outpatient here? 'Cause we have
Outpatient.
both. Okay.
Oh,
did
that's
outpatient.
so nice.
Yeah.
And that's the advantage. You can be in your apartment as an outpatient, go down
Yeah.
there and not have to get in a car and drive somewhere. And usually after physical therapy, I assume he was tired, Clifford was tired. And, you know, getting back home, you just go to your apartment.
Yeah, right.
An apartment is just like a house
Yeah,
in any city.
yeah, it sure is.
Mhm.
I was born in a house,
Mhm.
but I was raised in an apartment.
Mhm.
I only have 15 brothers and sisters.
Oh, my word.
At the
That's a
same
big
time,
one.
as those 15 brothers and sisters matured and got out, I had cousins, uncles and aunts outside of the city that were to move into the city.
Yeah.
And therefore, that house became a treasure point.
Mhm.
But I love a city.
You're a city boy.
This is an apartment building.
Mhm.
I love apartment buildings.
Yeah,
You probably have 4 or 5 entrances and exits.
It's true.
yeah.
You have an escape plan for fire and oil.
We do.
It's all
We
around.
do.
Yeah.
You have people that you walk by in the hall or on the elevator, if you have an elevator, that all of a sudden they become fellow passengers.
That's right.
It's a good living.
Good.
I finished.
Oh, well, we appreciate that. That's a perfect way to end it, I
Yeah.
think. Good, that's perfect, Clifford. Thank you. Hit the nail on the head. It's a wonderful community, and I think that really came across in all of your testimony and answers today. Welcoming community, you've got lots of friends. There's so many things to do.
And now you're gonna be online forever. You can
Yes.
tell your kids to,
I have
and your
one
nieces and
question.
nephews to go online and watch.
Oh,
This
okay.
building, wasn't this building a Navy building?
It is Army affiliated.
Army?
Original,
It's
yeah.
Mhm, originally Army affiliated, but we want to thank the 3 of you for taking the time to chat with our viewers today, to answer their questions. And we really appreciate it here at the Sales and Marketing Office. So thank you all so much.
Happy to
And
be
thank
here.
you for looking your very best for us.
And thank
Well,
you
thank you
to
very
everybody
much
who
for
watched.
inviting us.
Yeah.
Hope to
Goodbye,
see you.
everybody.
Hope to
Yep.
see you.
Yeah,
We'll
come
see
and
you
us in
next
person.
time. Yes. Yeah, you can go online, knollwoodcommunity.org to schedule an in-person tour. All right. Thanks, everybody. See you next
Bye-bye.
time.